The morning sun stretched gently across the quiet town of Maple Ridge, warming the lonely diner that sat along the open road. It was peaceful until the thunder of engines rolled in, breaking the silence like a storm over calm waters. Windows rattled, coffee cups trembled, and every head turned as a group of bikers pulled into the gravel lot. Their black leather jackets gleamed under the sun, but it was the man leading them who drew every gaze, Rex Malone. His name carried a weight that traveled farther than the echo of his Harley. He was the kind of man carved by the road itself, rough edges, silent strength, and eyes that had seen too many miles, too many mistakes. People whispered his name with both fear and respect. Yet, behind those scars and tattoos, lived a man no one truly knew. If you believe that kindness can come from the most unexpected hearts, and that everyone deserves a second chance, you're in the right place. Welcome to Pure Kindness Hub, where true stories of compassion come alive. Inside the diner, the familiar clinking of coffee cups faded as the bikers settled in. The waitress, her name tag read Mara, moved carefully between the tables. Her smile was soft but tired, and her eyes carried the weight of long nights and quiet struggles. When she leaned forward to pour coffee for Rex, he noticed something beneath her brave face, a faint bruise near her jawline, barely hidden under makeup. He'd seen that look before, the kind that told a story without words. It stirred something deep inside him, a memory he'd buried long ago, a memory of someone he couldn't save. As Mara worked, her hands trembled slightly. She avoided eye contact, staying small in her own space. When the manager barked an order across the counter, she flinched. The man's tone was sharp, his presence heavy with quiet cruelty. And in that moment, Rex understood everything. Hours later, as the crowd thinned, Rex lingered. He watched the manager shove past Mara, making her spill a cup of coffee. She whispered an apology, but his words back were cold and venomous. Rex's jaw tightened. He didn't need to hear more, he knew exactly what was happening. That night, sitting alone in his garage, the neon lights casting a faint blue glow over rows of bikes, Rex couldn't shake her image from his mind. He remembered the promise he'd once made to himself. Never again would he stand by and do nothing. The next morning, Mara arrived early for her shift. She looked surprised to see the motorcycles already parked outside, their chrome glinting in the sunrise. Rex sat at the counter, waiting quietly. When she approached, he asked if she was okay. She smiled, but her voice betrayed her. Before she could turn away, Rex spoke again, not with pity, but with quiet certainty. Something in his tone broke through her walls. Her eyes welled with tears she could no longer hold back. That's when the manager came storming out, ready to shout, but he stopped cold when Rex stood. The room fell silent. One by one, the other bikers rose too, forming a wall of calm, steady strength behind their leader. Rex walked toward the manager, not fast, not angry, just certain. His voice was low, but every word hit like thunder. Hurting someone weaker doesn't make you strong. It makes you small. The man's confidence crumbled. He mumbled something, turned, and stormed out the door, his pride trailing behind him. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Mara whispered, "Thank you." Rex shook his head and said gently, "You don't need to thank me. Just start again." Without fear. The diner, once frozen in silence, filled with soft clapping. One man stood, then another. Soon the sound of quiet applause filled the air, like a heartbeat of hope. By nightfall, word of what happened spread through Maple Ridge. The men who had once been feared became symbols of unexpected kindness. People began to see them differently, not as outlaws, but as protectors. Mara found a new job at a small cafe where she was treated with respect. Sometimes, Rex would stop by for coffee, not as a hero, just as a friend. And this time, her smile reached her eyes. But what truly mattered wasn't what Rex did that day. It was what it awakened in him. For years, he'd lived behind walls built from guilt and loss. Helping Mara cracked them open and reminded him that even the hardest hearts can still heal others. His biker club began organizing charity rides, food drives, and fundraisers for women's shelters. What started as one act of courage turned into a movement that softened an entire town's heart. Months later, as the sun dipped behind the mountains, Mara stood outside the diner, now under new management, and watched a familiar line of bikes roll by. Rex lifted a hand in silent acknowledgement. She smiled, her heart full, because sometimes, kindness doesn't whisper, it roars in on two wheels, wearing leather and carrying a heart that has known pain. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Pure, where we celebrate the strength that comes from compassion. Before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe even the toughest people can have the softest hearts? And as Maple Ridge watched the sun fade that evening, it wasn't the roar of the engines they remembered. It was the silence that followed. When kindness finally spoke louder than fear,